Hello YouTube, Internet, World. Welcome back to another episode of Dime Store Cinema, the show in which I watch under-discussed films, I give you my 2 cents, so you can decide if they're worth your dime. I'm sorry it's been a while since I've uploaded a video. I completely lost my voice for almost 2 weeks. So I could have done a text-based video, but I was too sick to do that. I am currently on my first vacation in 16 years and enjoying myself very much. So we're just now wrapping up the Christmas season, heading into the new year. Happy New Year, everyone. I was planning on talking about 2 other Christmas movies. That was going to be my Christmas movie series. I was going to talk about Mixed Nuts and White Christmas. Now, I wanted to talk about these movies because Mixed Nuts, I think, gets a lot of bad reviews, even though I think unjustly, and White Christmas is talked about quite a lot, but I think for particularly a new generation, the younger of my viewers, might not have ever heard of it or might not have seen it, just because it's an older film, and I understand that some people have some trepidation about watching some older cinema. So I'll start with White Christmas and tell you that despite how you feel about older movies, this is one you should watch. Now, I'm a little biased because I grew up with this movie. It was a tradition in my household that the first snow of every year we would watch White Christmas. The whole premise essentially is very dated, and I understand that. But the dance routines are amazing. The music is beautiful. And some of the acting, particularly the gentleman who plays the general, the crux of the whole movie is that they want to put on a show for this general who's trying to get back into the army, but is deemed by the military to be too old. So he's feeling old and rejected and forgotten. So the idea is to put on this show for him. In his performance, the light that shines in his eyes when he sees his old regiment, when he sees all of the people that used to be under his command, it's one of the most heartwarming performances I've ever seen. And he doesn't really even say much. It's not a grand or overbearing show of emotion. It's just this little twinkle in his eye, this little twinge in his eyebrows that just, it communicates so much, and it's beautiful and heartwarming, and it just makes, even if you didn't like the rest of the movie, it makes the whole movie worth it. Now, I don't see how anyone couldn't enjoy this movie. I mean, it stars Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye, and just watching them interact together is wonderful. And Danny Kaye is one of my favorite from that time period. He's just an absolutely hysterical actor. His performances are great, and his personality is great, and it's so much energy he puts into every scene, and it's great to see him. And Bing Crosby, his voice is just, it's like butter. It can't get smoother than Bing Crosby singing. I mean, it's just, yes. And Rosemary Clooney, her voice is amazing. It's such a good movie. Particularly for around the holidays. It's a great movie to watch with your family. Just enjoy. If you're not into this kind of movie, like I said, watching it with your family, you can at least interact with your family while this movie's going on. It allows for that. And then the second movie that I wanted to talk about was Mixed Nuts. I've heard a lot of negative reviews about this movie, and it is a total screwball comedy, but it is it's hilarious. It's really, really funny. And I'm not going to get into the story too much with it. It was a funny, quirky, silly movie. And I think a lot of Christmas movies are just too heavy and serious, and they try to push the family message too much, which, I mean, is great. It can be, it's fine, but Mixed Nuts is just, it's a silly, farcical romp. It's enjoyable. It's fun to just sit back and watch the nonsense unfold. So yeah, those were going to be my movie reviews, my Christmas movie reviews. Moving forward, I'm planning on introducing another segment beyond Dime Store Cinema and beyond Weekend Suggestion. I want to introduce a new segment called Gray and Fuchsia. It's going to be a more esoteric look at movies. I want to deal with topics, not so much movies. For my first video, I want to talk about women in film and women in particularly Hollywood productions. It's a very big issue as of late. With a lot of controversy, a lot of people on different sides. So I want to kind of look at it, and the whole point of this segment is to kind of look at the gray in between the black and white. Because no topic, or very few topics, exist within the black and white that a lot of people seem to paint them. Life isn't that simple. There are perspectives on every side. It's not just one side and another side. It's all sides, because we all are influenced by our perspective, and our perspective influences our opinion, and our opinion influences our stance on any particular instance or circumstance or topic. So I want to kind of get into these esoteric conversations, and I don't want it to just be me talking to you. I want it to be a conversation. So that's where I want to move in this upcoming year. And I think also my movie reviews are going to be a little more esoteric as well. It won't just be talking about the plot of the movie. I want to kind of talk about the movie itself as getting more into the way it feels, the way it the type of feeling that it presents, getting into something a little more interesting than just the concrete of what you can watch. For that kind of thing, I leave it, and I talked about this, I think, in my first video, I leave that more to the movie reviewers whom I really respect. You have the Jeremy Johns, you have the Chris Stuckmans, you have the Alicia Malones, the Scott Mantz, the Schmoes Know Network. They do really good movie reviews. They talk very intelligently about movies, their structure, how they were made, the finance behind it. Me, I want to talk about film itself. I want to talk about the importance of film. I want to talk about film as art, because that's what interests me, more so than individual movies. Even though individual movies make me geek out, I really want to talk about movies' place in cinema. I want to talk about them as art. I want to get more esoteric, which probably means I'm not going to have as many viewers, because I don't know if people are interested in that kind of thing. I hope they are. That's why I made this channel. But I know that's what really interests me. Art in general really interests me, and storytelling is what I have the most passion about, regardless of its form, whether it's books, whether it's art, whether it's comic books, whether it's film, television. It doesn't matter. I love story. I love the thought that goes into telling stories. I love the meaning that stories can have, and I love how stories create a safe space for us to evaluate ourselves, for us to experience incidences metaphorically. That's why stories are so important. That's why every religion, every philosophy, every mode of thought uses stories to teach important and deep messages. It's because we can experience them third hand and evaluate them ourselves based on the protagonist and antagonist. So, story itself is so important, but then on top of that, my favorite mode of storytelling is movies. Because it combines everything. It combines the storytelling with the visual, with the audio. It combines everything to create an entire universe. And this gets into one of the topics that I want to talk about a lot, is acting. A lot of the focus now on acting is the realism. And I want to bring up the point that good acting isn't acting realistically. It isn't lying convincingly. Good acting is storytelling. A good actor presents subtext. That is, you know an actor, a character's entire backstory based on their actions in a film. That's what good acting is. It's not emoting properly. Good acting is storytelling. It's telling a story that's deeper than the script. And that's why movies can be as good as books, because books are able to tell the subtext. That's what makes their universes so much larger, and why it's so difficult for a movie to convey it. But with good actors, their acting provides the subtext that the script cannot tell. And that's one of the main things that really separates a good movie from a bad movie, or a good script and a bad script. There are good scripts that are ruined by the actors, and there are bad scripts that are made completely memorable by the actors. And that's why acting is so important and why it's so difficult. And you'll notice throughout the decades, the style of acting consistently changes. And I understand that a lot of people don't like older movies because the acting style was different. They say, oh, it's not believable. But once again, acting isn't about the emotion, or not entirely about the emotion. It's about storytelling. So you look at the movies like maybe Charade. You look at Audrey Hepburn's performance, and in modern standards, she's overacting. But the story that she tells is extremely convincing and engaging and fascinating and full of subtext. That's what makes it good acting. Not because she's emoting in a realistic way, but she's emoting in a way that talks about her character. And it's the same with a lot of the acting of that time, and even before that time. The goal wasn't to portray a realistic response to stimulus. It was to tell a story. And I think that is missing a lot in modern cinema. In any case, I'm going to let you go. I wish you a very happy new year. I hope that your winter holiday was wonderful. I hope that the new year brings joy and peace to all of you. So with that, I say goodbye. And as always, I hope your life is full of wonderful cinema.